So you want the smoothest drone footage, yes? Well, surely it's 24 frames per second, ain't it? Nope. Watch this video and we're going to find out what really gives us the smoothest drone footage. Now, in our previous video we showed you the best profile to use with your Mavic Air 2, I'll link it up here, and in this video we're going to show you how to get the smoothest video possible. So we're constantly told that 24 frames per second gives us the most smoothest cinematic style video.
Your eyes can only see at 24 frames per second. Anything above 24 frames per second is just a waste of file size. Pros all use 24 frames per second. Anything above 24 frames per second is only used to slow down footage to get slow motion footage. You cannot see the difference between 24 frames per second and 60 frames per second.
So in this video, we're going to take the drone out and go through every frames per second option we have on there, which is 24, 25, 30, 48, 50 and 60 frames per second, testing them all on a set route and seeing which one really does give us the smoothest video. Okay, we've got the drone up in the air. What we're going to do is send it up and down this field, changing the frames per second that we're recording at each time. We'll then take the drone back home and have a look at the footage and see which one gives us the smoothest footage. So let's get going. Okay, so we just got back from the flying and that went really well. We got all the clips with all the different frame rates. But whilst over there I realised that we're filming this at 30 frames per second. So if I show you any of the footage that is at a different rate to 30 frames per second, it's going to be all wacky and out of sync. So you're not going to actually get to see which one is the smoothest. So the way I'm going to do this, I'm going to put my family through hell for the next couple of days and I'm going to do loads of blind tests on them. They're going to get to choose which one is the smoothest and then I'm going to give you guys the results. Okay, it's been a few days now and we've got the results in. So let's put some frames on the board and show you how we got along. Now, across the board, 24 and 25 frames per second in our blind test with family members, everybody said this was the worst setting for smoothness. And in fact, everybody commented on how stuttery it was. Let me show you an example of this. So as we begin to fly, I want you to pay particular attention to the grass there, and if you notice there is stuttering going on. Now I know this clip has been recorded at 24 frames per second and the video you're watching is 29.97, so you're going to get an exaggerated example of this stuttering, but it was on the original clip also. Next we have 30 frames per second and this was a lot smoother than 24 and 25. In fact, most people said that this was an acceptable level of smoothness. So that gets a tick. 48 and 50 frames per second. Again, this appeared smoother than the 30 frames per second. And that also gets a tick. And the 60 frames per second, everybody said this was by far the smoothest footage out of all the shots we took. So that gets more ticks than the rest of them. So to conclude this video, the higher your frame rate, the smoother the footage you're going to get. It really is as simple as that. I would just like to point out, depending on your project, if you're using other recording equipment, like this camera I'm using now has a maximum frame rate of 30 FPS, which means if I've got a drone that records at 60 FPS, I won't be able to mix and match the footage unless I slow down the drone's footage to match 30 frames per second. So bear that in mind. But thank you so much for watching this. If you enjoyed it, give it a like down there. And if you're new here, why not subscribe to my channel if you want to see future videos from myself. Thank you so much for watching and stay safe guys, we'll catch up soon.